All right, India's Jessica Taneja joins us live. Hi, Jessica. Just now, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefed the ambassadors of various missions in India on the current developments related to the terror attack. Tell us something more about it.
That's correct, Siddharth. The Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has briefed various ambassadors and heads of missions here in New Delhi about the terror attack that took place in Pahalgam in Kashmir. And of course, this is part of India's efforts, it's part of its diplomatic push to make sure that all its allies and all the countries that it enjoys bilateral ties with, apart from that, a relationship which should be apprised of the situation that India is faced with, especially a security situation of this proportion. So of course, that meeting took place a short while ago as we speak at South Block. And also, this is part of India's efforts, not just to, of course, brief the ambassadors here in New Delhi, but also make sure that its missions overseas are also going to brief the various foreign ministries of other countries, again, to make sure that they understand the kind of security situation India is surrounded with when it comes to cross-border terrorism, something that India has been pointing out as a concern to all of its allies when it comes to tackling terrorism, and especially in hybrid form that we've seen unfold in Kashmir, in Pahalgam, the brutal attack that took the lives of 26 individuals, along with injuring many others. This is also going to continue to put India, in a sense, would continue to put that kind of pressure on Pakistan. We also talked about revoking visas. We heard from the Foreign Secretary just yesterday evening after he briefed the media about the Cabinet Committee on Security as to what all now action plan would sort of be put forth when it comes to the relationship with Pakistan and the action taken against state-sponsored terrorism. And of course, going into how the Indus Water Treaty will be held in abeyance, to diplomats who will now be expelled from the country. That includes the military, naval, air attaches who were here, as well as the Indian Navy air and military attaches in Islamabad would be recalled, and now the diplomat staff would be brought down further to 35 from the current strength of 55. Now remember, back in 2019 when the Pulwama terror attack took place on the CRPF convoy there, a similar diplomatic action was also seen from India's front, very actively putting its point forward to its allies that this is the kind of situation they're faced with, and the cross-border terrorism does not seem to end. Well, there was peace in the last 6 years, and you've seen how various foreign delegations were also taken to Kashmir to see the calm and ease in the valley, but somehow that seemed to have been disrupted by actors who have decided that this is the moment and this is the kind of attention they'd want Kashmir to have, and not of a thriving economy that was seeing an uptick of almost 60,000 tourist footfall each year, and that certainly has impacted, apart from, of course, the grim and the somber mood in the valley, and of course the locals who now would suffer because of this ensuing violence.
Definitely, Jessica, locals would suffer, but what's to notice here is the fact that people there are really brave. They are saying that whatever happened is really sad, but they cannot instill fear in our minds and hearts. This is something a very brave and a very good statement by the people of India. In the first step, Jessica, after dastardly attack in Pahalgam, India's 5-pronged response, which it came out with, includes holding the 1960 Indus Water Treaty, shutting the Atari-Wagah border, among others. India has downsides its diplomatic ties with Pakistan. Tell us more on this. What all areas are there?
That's correct. There were 4 major announcements made by the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri just last evening, wherein he said that the Indus Water Treaty, as he pointed out, will be held in abeyance. That effectively means that Pakistan, which of course will not be receiving the water, and of course there are issues and notifications that India had issued even last year for certain modifications in the Indus Water Treaty, but this is going to certainly have a major impact on the agricultural economy of the Punjab side of Pakistan, and certainly would pinch the farmers in more ways than one, and would affect the Shehbaz Sharif government to that effect. India knows that putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance would certainly hurt the right place, given the kind of cross-border terrorism and the concerns around that have been raised with the Pakistani establishment, not just of Shehbaz Sharif, but within Imran Khan previously, who's seen as even more anti-India perhaps than what we see in the current dispensation. But the remarks from the army chief Asim Munir have not gone down well at all, and perhaps a warning there that with the kind of ranting spree that was witnessed in that address to the Pakistani audiences, the overseas Pakistani nationals who were present there certainly seem to have not gone out of context, but given a case in a nutshell that it has the sponsorship of the Pakistan army, and perhaps a deeper levels of involvement with the deep state as well. Of course, India on the other hand is not going to stop short in terms of responding to this particular terror attack and the retaliation. Of course, the military retaliation one will not know, and one of course will not discuss on air in news, but from what we do understand that there will be a stricter action this time. Last time we saw an attack of a retaliation with the Balakot attacks, but now I think this time there will be a different level of escalation, an escalation perhaps that would point towards an example that this is a country that will not be attacked further by the same state-sponsored terrorists that India has been trying very hard to keep at bay and keep the valley thriving.
Definitely, you're right, Jessica, on this. It indeed was a heart-wrenching incident what happened. Cowardly act, a heinous act of terrorism, in fact. But this time around, India will certainly show that it will not tolerate these kind of incidents. You're absolutely right. But I just want to know, Jessica, that what next is expected from India as far as the diplomatic ties are concerned, as far as the retaliation is concerned?
Well, you've already seen the briefing to Foreign Secretary's briefing to various ambassadors and heads of missions in the country to tell them and apprise them about the situation as we speak. And also, of course, we've seen the Indus Water Treaty that's been held in abeyance, cutting down diplomatic ties in a sense where the diplomatic staff, which was roughly around to the strength of 55, will now be only 30. That includes Indian High Commission in Islamabad as well, as well as the Pakistan High Commission here in India. And of course, keeping our allies from whom we've heard a lot of concern in the recent past, be it the United States of America or Israel or Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, from the German Chancellor, from the incoming German Chancellor Frederick Merz to Mark Carney, the current Prime Minister of Canada. There have been, condolences pouring in, and of course condemning this dastardly attack. So there has been support internationally when it comes to this particular situation as India is faced with right now, the current security situation in the valley. At the same time, the diplomatic effort here is to ensure that the coercive diplomacy is at play, as it was back in 2019 when the dastardly Pulwama attacks took place in the CRPF convoy. And so India would continue to put its situation forward when it comes to Kashmir, raising the issue even at the United Nations Security Council and various other UN agencies to let the world know that this is the kind of terror and violence India has been thwarting for nearly a quarter of a century or more, and its efforts continue to keep the valley economically thriving as well as the people happy.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so much, Jessica, for your analysis.